This is a podcast from the Business Times.
So even before the pandemic, the process of transforming jobs, configuring tasks, and redesigning responsibilities was underway for some organizations. Of course, the pandemic accelerated digital transformation across all sectors, and today job redesign is really a necessity, not just a nice to have. Given our population is decreasing, many laborious, mind-numbing, albeit important tasks are being automated. We need to get to a place where we function at a higher level. So today we speak to one such person who's functioning at a higher level now, Ethan Ho, who is an Assistant Vice President at OCBC. Welcome to the Business Times Hired Podcast. Ethan, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you for having me here.
Happy to have you here. So you have to tell us about your journey because you've been through job redesign, right?
Yeah.
And you'd been at OCBC at the time for some 6 or 7 years. Tell us about the process. Was it you who wanted it, or did, the company want you to go through a job redesign process?
So I joined the bank back in 2015, where I started off as an automobile loan officer. So my day-to-day task is more of just assessing loan documents and to perform data entry. In 2020, I was given this opportunity to join this job redesign, and I'm really thankful because I'm a strong believer in continuous learning. It's important to have our skill sets refreshed to remain relevant and to ensure that we stay competitive in this ever-changing environment. As OCBC places a strong emphasis on employees' learning and development, getting support from my bosses and the organization is a simple feat. The journey for me is pretty plain sailing.
Smooth sailing as well, I suppose, too, right? So now that you're handling more of, let me get this right, the re-engineering and digitalization of the automobile value chain, what do you think are the main differences in how you work before, say, you were doing the automobile loan processing, before you went through the program, and then now?
So before joining the program, as a bank officer, my work was repetitive and we wouldn't expect much challenges because it's more of a data entry work and the progress stagnates pretty quickly. So after the program, we are able to encounter more different situations where we need our analytical skills, brainstorming skills, and stakeholder management. This program actually enables me to reframe a situation under another perspective. Previously was from the operational perspective, but with this new program, I'm able to look things at the technological side. So I'm able to strike a balance between both aspects.
So did you have a hand in, say, streamlining the processes as well? Because remember we talked about earlier, some of these tasks, they're important, don't get me wrong, data entry and such, but like you said, right, it's a bit repetitive and so on. So what exactly do you do now? Did the process after going through job redesign help to streamline these mind-numbing processes?
Yep. So one of the more important skills that was picked up during the job redesign was this digital business analysis, where we leverage on technology to actually improve operational process through automation and optimizing processing workflow. So one of the examples in this automobile value chain is the customer verification, where back then there is a need for the bank officers to call the customer over the phone to make a verification of the loan application. But with this integration into the digital workflow, this whole process is currently eliminated. So there's another point whereby there is this data entry portion where the car salesman actually needs to fill up the application form and submit to the bank, where the bank officers transcribe such data into the processing system. But with this integrated digital flow with MyInfo, the loan information and customer information are all actually interfaced to the backend system from a front-end portal that was keyed in by the customer and the car dealers.
So safe to say no more data entry for you?
Yeah. Actually, we can safely say that data entry is almost eliminated in the whole process.
So there's a whole list of skills you required, right? You talked about the digital business analytics. There's also agile methodology. That sounds like what? Have to be very quick? Maybe explain that to us.
So other than the digital business analogy, another skill set that I picked up was the agile methodology. So this is a methodology that allows us to deliver bite-sized deliverables. This is bite-sized, right? It actually allows to maneuver away. So if there's any critical insight during the project phase, and since that is bite-sized, we only engage the respective subject matter experts to actually address these issues when needed. So we are able to collaborate across cross-functional without any so-called blockers or roadblockers that are visible in the bigger team.
You might need to give us an example. So after you went through job redesign, I'm sure you went on to do some projects where you could apply these skills, right? Give us an example as to how agile methodology works.
An example would be the introduction of this new pre-approved loan that we had that was introduced by OCBC. So to actually have this new workflow introduced to the market, we break down the process into various steps. So the front end, the customer point of view, the salesman point of view, the car salesman point of view, the operation point of view, and the business point of view. So each small teams will address each of these areas, and it's more of like plug and play, and we actually fix them up together to make a whole value chain out of it. So that's how this agile methodology actually helps in doing this decoupled, yet we are able to couple it back at the end of the whole project cycle.
But we all know in life, right, you can't use plug and play for everything. Everything is not the same. So there's a human-centeredness skill that you also picked up. Tell us how that helps.
To me, I think that's the basis of how we actually design our solutions, because that is a studies on how we actually address our stakeholders' needs. So most of our designs or solutions are actually designed based on this principle to address the real needs of our customers and stakeholders, rather than to build something that is not favored by them in a way.
Still to come, we find out how challenging the process of job redesign was for Ethan, and also what was the biggest takeaway from it. More in a moment.
And now, back to Hired, a podcast from the Business Times.
We've been speaking to Ethan Ho, who's an assistant vice president at OCBC. This is Hired, a podcast by the Business Times. So Ethan, how challenging was the process of job redesign? Did you have to do the old job at the same time as you were going through the process of like school, I suppose, right? As you're learning the new processes?
For me, right, it's more of having to juggle your time between the courses and your regular work. So yeah, but with the support of the organization and the bosses, I think they were pretty understanding in a way, and they gave me ample time to attend classes, prepare for my exams and whatnot. So it was pretty supportive of them. So it isn't that hard actually.
How did you power through? Because I'm sure at some point it felt difficult. It felt like, wow, I finish class, I still have to go back and finish whatever work I have. Doesn't matter how much time off the company might give you, work still needs to be done, right?
So thankfully, we have a group of peers who actually attend, my group of peers who actually attend the program together. So we found empowerment among each other. So there's encouragement, we discuss work, we actually work together in projects and stuff. So we are much more effective in a way because we know each other. There is less discord in a way because we are in a team. That's how I find the energy and the drive to actually complete this entire job redesign program.
Like a support group,
yes,
right?
Okay.
If there was one thing though, Ethan, like the biggest takeaway for you when you went through the job redesign process, what would that be?
For me, I would say it's continuous learning. So this entire job redesign journey actually reaffirms that continuous learning is very important for everyone, and that we should not be fearful to actually go for a job redesign. But there are things that you will pick up and you will learn and you will benefit in this journey. And my advice is that to recommend this to those who want a more rewarding career and to have a more meaningful and enriching job.
Let's talk a bit more about that since you've given some advice, right? What can people expect when they go through job redesign?
Job redesign is something new that they may not have encountered, but it's still enriching. Yeah, it's really rewarding, as previously mentioned. It's just
good to come in open-minded as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
So Ethan, now that you have these newly acquired skills, I mean, you've put them to use already. How do you envision your career trajectory at OCBC?
With these new skills, because that was back in 2020s. So to me, it's slightly outdated too, in my own perspective. So I'm actually looking to do more. In the recent years. So I'm actually doing another program with NUS for business analytics in 2024.
Ethan is preparing to take over the world. Thank you so much for your time today, Ethan. It's
Thank
been a real
you.
pleasure.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you so much.
This has been Hired by BT Podcasts. And find out more about job redesign and business transformation at Workforce Singapore's website. I'm Howie Lim.
Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.